You guys think of Amber in this last episode of Crime Story? I'm not gonna lie, it was breaking my heart because Amber looks like a completely different person since the last time we seen her on the show. And it doesn't look like she gained weight. It looks like she's like swollen, like something health-wise may be going on with her. And I really hope she's okay. And then her voice sounded completely different. She claims she has laryngitis. At first, I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope all these years of drinking and smoking meth didn't finally catch up to her and fry her voice. Because, we see people who smoke or live really hard and then they get like in their 60s and their voice becomes like that. She claims her voice sounded like that because she had laryngitis, and I guess that's when your voice box becomes inflamed. And the last thing you should be doing when you have a flare-up is sitting there and smoking cigarettes. And she was chain smoking the whole episode. She couldn't sit through one confessional without having a cigarette. Like, I thought Angela was bad, and every time I saw her on my TV screen, I cannot remember one single scene where I didn't see Angela without a cigarette. I think Amber's almost just as bad as Angela. I just hope that's what it is and it's not liver failure or anything like that. I'm just concerned because the last time we saw her, she had to get that abortion because she had liver issues, and we kept seeing her drink like a fish on the show. And then we found out that she was just arrested back on December 20th of 2024, and she was charged with DUI, possession of an open container of alcohol, failure to maintain a lane, and other traffic violations. It doesn't say the exact blood alcohol level that she had, but it was over the .08 legal percentage, so she got a DUI. She also got a ticket for failing to provide valid vehicle insurance. She had the open container, she had impaired operation, and she was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the incident. Amber has not been active on social media since her arrest. I can't find any details on if she's still locked up or not. Every single time I try searching her name, it says nothing's coming up. I did have someone reach out to me on Instagram claiming they ran into her at a Walmart like a month ago, but that's all I've heard about the situation. So in this Crime Story episode, she talks about as a child, she grew up with her mother, and her mother was never very lovey-dovey or really had a emotional connection with her daughter because she was too focused on getting high. She had Amber when she was only 17 years old. She was partying like a rock star, doing hot rails. They sat down with this guy, and I believe he was like a drug psychiatrist, and he said that if a child is born into a family, they have a 20% chance of using drugs if neither of the parents are on drugs. But if one of the parents are on drugs, that percentage goes from 20 to 40% chance. So they have an almost 1 in 2 chance of getting on drugs and going through the same things that their parents went through in their lifetime, which that is just crazy. And Amber's mom really didn't do anything to hide her drug use from Amber. Amber said that really hurt her as a child, but she still ended up turning to drugs when she was 13 and started hanging out with older people. And she still doesn't understand why when she was hurting from her mom using drugs, she would turn to that same exact thing. But I just think she was young and didn't really understand what she was fully getting herself into. And she thought it was normal since that's what her mom was constantly doing. And I feel like if you have a parent who's doing that, you think, okay, yeah, this is what all parents do. This is what I'm supposed to do now that I'm an adult. One day, Amber gave her mom some Red Rock and they got high together. And getting high together with them was normal. It was like how most parents have dinner and do homework with their kids. That's how Amber and her mother spent quality time together. Then Amber showed off her current boyfriend that she's currently with, and they've been together for the past year, and she just posted him like right before she got locked up, a few months before she last got locked up back in December. She's posting pictures with him, so it looks like they're still going strong. They dated before. She dated him when she was 15. I don't know why they broke up, but they ended up getting back together as adults, and they seem to be doing pretty good together. Then she went into details about her first arrest, and I think she said she was only like 15, and she was selling hella dope. So she had a lot of money, she had a lot of dope, she was doing real good, and she was dating this guy, and this guy like pulls up at some place, and he goes inside, and he's like, okay, Amber, I'll be right back out. And she's just outside circling around the place, chain smoking one cigarette after another. Then she notices somebody walk up, and then she notices that her boyfriend saw this person walked up and looks at her and starts signaling to her that she needs to run and get out fast. Amber ended up calling her mom, and her mom really didn't ask no questions, and she showed right up, picked her daughter up. And when they're driving off, all of a sudden they were surrounded by like 50 police cars. Amber was arrested, and her boyfriend was arrested too. And he ended up writing one of Amber's friends and sent a letter to her house and said, hey, just let Amber know if she's not going to be with me anymore, then I'm going to rat her ass out. And that is exactly what he did. He completely snitched on her. And the thing is, Amber said, according to her, that she was not even involved in this whole robbery or stealing from this guy. She was even asking her boyfriend, like, why the hell did you even do this? Because I had a lot of money and dope. We didn't need to do this. We were good. If you needed something, you should just ask me. And he just told her, like, I don't know. And Amber really didn't know what she was getting herself into. She thought that he was just stopping by to grab something at this person's place, and it was completely mutual. But it was the complete opposite of that. The judge really stuck it to her and gave her 2 years in prison. I'm curious what he sentenced her boyfriend to. So she goes to prison, she gets out, and just like we've seen a lot of these other cast members explaining their crime stories, they get out and go right back to doing the same thing. And they call up their plug before they even call their families and go and re-up. And that's what Amber did. And she was selling more dope than ever. She said that she was selling for the Mexicans. She was sending all kinds of money to Mexico, and she explained that the whole process is super complicated because you can only send $1,000 at a time, and they're moving heavy weight. So she would have to go find like 10 different people to each send $1,000, and I'm sure she had to pay each person to send money and get involved with all that. And you really have to be trusting too to hand over that type of money and hope that somebody sends it to somebody. But she said they did that for a while. Everything was going good. But then one day she went to South Carolina to pick up 10 bricks. And she got this ride from this guy named Rodney. And I guess she just met this guy. She thought he was cool. He was willing to give her rides, you know, go on, do all the dirty work with her. So he takes her back to Georgia and gets a hotel for her. Or no, she got a hotel for him under her name. And then Rodney was like, well, I gotta go take care of some stuff, I'll be back later. So Amber was like, okay. And she had all these people blowing up her phone because she told all her people, look, I'm about to go re-up and get 10 bricks, so if you need anything, I got you. And she had all kinds of people hitting her up from out of state trying to re-up. They would not stop blowing her up. So she's like, I can't wait for Rodney any longer, I gotta get to it. Her mom was an hour away, so she called her mom, was like, you need to get your ass down here right now. I need you to come get me so we can go run around and do some deals. And the mom went down there. And right when the mom got there, they're sitting there, they're weighing stacks out. Next thing you know, Amber got a tip off from somebody that she knew, and they're like, girl, you need to watch out for Rodney because there's something going on with him. And Amber, her heart started racing. She started grabbing all her dope, her scales, any kind of paraphernalia you could think of. And her and her mother went downstairs in the hotel, and I guess they said they hid it in a bathroom, everything but like $2,200. Then they went outside the front of the hotel and smoked a cigarette to cool down. And next thing you know, they were surrounded by all these police officers telling them to get down on the ground. I don't know if they ever ended up finding the dope in the scales that they hid in the bathroom, but Amber said she had like $6,000 stashed in her bra, and her mom had like 2 ounces of dope on the side of her pants, and when they patted them down, they didn't find it. But finally they put them in handcuffs and said that they're under arrest, and Amber was like, what for? And they revealed that Amber's little buddy Rodney got pulled over after he left Amber. He had an ounce of dope. He got caught up. And instead of going down, he's like, hey, I can show you where the big dog's at. You can go find Amber, who just got 10 breaks, and I'm sure she's with her mom. So they ended up letting him go and went and took Amber and her mom down. And Amber got a hefty sentence. She was sentenced to 30 years, but she only had to serve 10, and then she was able to get some good time, so she didn't have to do the full 10 years. And what she didn't serve in prison, of that 10 years, she had to serve the rest on parole. And then she has 20 whopping years of probation. So she better chill out on the drinking and driving, because I wouldn't be shocked if she did get like a 4-month prison sentence off that DUI, since it's so serious. But I don't know, because we see people like Chance who are on probation and parole, and he's got a DUI, a tampering with a motor vehicle, and numerous other charges, and somehow he's still out here walking as a free man. The moral of Amber's story is trust is fragile. The more vulnerable you are to the people who are closest to you, the higher chance you have of having that trust being broken. It just serves as a cautionary tale about the potential for betrayal. And it just shows like it's so easy for people to write for you and be good friends when everything's going good. But the real test of time is when shit hits the fan and things are bad. And sometimes the ones closest to you can do the most harm. Amber, I actually believe most of her story. There's a lot of cast members in their crime story, like Lindsay. There's some things Destiny was saying that I was doubting. And I'm like, okay, are you just like exaggerating some things for the cameras? And I could just read it with their body language and how they didn't seem too confident in how they explain things. But I truly believe everything that Amber was explaining in her story, and about how the fact her and her mom were moving hella weight, because I've heard from people who actually knew Amber back when she was using drugs, and they really said that she was a big dog. Then we saw Amber and her mother sit down and talk to, or make a phone call with Puppy, who is currently in prison. She said that she ended up traveling out of state, and she's not allowed to leave the state without permission because she's on parole for, I can't remember how long, but it's a crazy amount of years, like 20 plus years like Amber. Puppy was looking rough in her mugshot. So I hope that this time in prison is a wake-up call. She said that she's locked up with Eric's ex, Heather, which that is just crazy to me. I've spoken with Heather several times, and yeah, she was pretty much just trying to expose Eric, and she didn't really have many good things to say about Eric at the time. And I know her and Puppy had a lot of beef, so I know things have got to be awkward, especially considering the fact that they're not only in the same prison, but they're in the same exact pod, so they have to see each other's faces every single day. And she said she got caught up, making it sound like she got busted with drugs or something. I don't know, she didn't specify, but when she said caught up, that's how I took it. But that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about Amber and her crime story in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.